Well, hello. Welcome to your feedback session for the homework page 48 to 53. Similar as always, get a green pen, give yourself marks to all the questions you got right, write down the correct answer in green to all the questions you got wrong. Make sure you ask your teacher if there is something you do not understand and you need help with. We're going to try and do it in less than 15 minutes, starting now. First question is about photosynthesis. Uh, Photosynthesis takes place in the chloroplast of plant cells. It uses light energy to change carbon dioxide and water into glucose and oxygen. Photosynthesis is an endothermic reaction. It's going to absorb energy from the surrounding. Only one of the following statements about photosynthesis is true. Tick the correct one. So the first one is wrong because photosynthesis does not happen at night. There's not enough light. B is wrong because photosynthesis involves energy transfer from the environment to the chloroplast. Photosynthesis needs chlorophyll, that is true, but it's not found in the nucleus. And photosynthesis involves energy transfer from the environment to the chloroplast is the correct answer. That was D. Next, potatoes store their glucose as starch. New potato plants can be grown from potatoes. The sentence below explains why potatoes store their glucose as starch. Starch is insoluble. I mean, it cannot be dissolved in water. So it's going to stay as a big molecule. It's not going to dissolve like sugar would. This means it does not cause water to be drawn into the potato cell by osmosis. Whilst below ground, new potato plant break down starch in potatoes into glucose. Suggests two ways that the new potato plant use this glucose. It can be used for respiration, to generate energy or to release energy, to make cellulose, to make amino acid, to make protein, anything that exists is made from glucose in the plant. When new potato plants grow above ground, they don't need to break down starch stores to get glucose. So just how the new plants get their glucose instead through photosynthesis. Okay, the main source of glucose is photosynthesis, and it can be stored as starch in the roots in the potato. The rate of photosynthesis. A limiting factor is something that stops photosynthesis from happening any faster. Remember, I'm sure you did an example in class. Let's imagine we are talking about a bakery and we're looking at all you need. So you need ingredients, you need bakers, you need oven. If you only have one oven that works constantly, you can't make any more bread because your oven is fully used up. Okay, if you bought a second oven, you could make more bread. Chlorophyll can be a limiting factor of photosynthesis if a plant has too little chlorophyll. And when this happens, the rate of photosynthesis can only increase if there is an increase in chlorophyll. Now, so this is what is meant by a limiting factor. Okay, the same thing would happen with temperature. The same thing would happen with light intensity. Farmer Farron doesn't put her cows out during the winter because the grass is not growing. So there's two differences between summer and winter conditions that could affect the rate of photosynthesis in the grass. So there's a lot less daylight in the winter than in the summer, and also it's a lot colder. How are the rate of photosynthesis and the growth rate of grass related? When the rate of photosynthesis increases, more glucose is made, therefore the growth is going to happen faster. So the growth of grass increases. A. Anna switches on the light bulb in her kitchen. What will happen to the rate of photosynthesis after she turns on the light? The rate of photosynthesis will increase. It's because the light intensity has increased. Okay? The more light, the higher the rate of photosynthesis. Hannah switches on an electric heater in her kitchen. Suggests why the rate of photosynthesis in her herbs increase. Temperature increases, which increase the activity of enzymes involved in photosynthesis. Remember, in biology, most of the chemical reaction, including photosynthesis, are controlled or sped up by enzymes. The faster the enzyme works, the higher the rate of reaction. Hannah buys more herbs to grow in her kitchen. How do you think increasing the number of herbs will affect the carbon dioxide concentration in Hannah's kitchen? The carbon dioxide will decrease over time because the carbon dioxide is absorbed by plants to carry out photosynthesis. and the rate of photosynthesis will decrease because there is less carbon dioxide. Next, Levi measured the rate of photosynthesis in pondweed at different temperature. The graph is shown below. What is the highest rate of photosynthesis? So the peak is obtained at about 34 degrees Celsius, and the rate of photosynthesis is 40 units. Okay, that's the top of the curve. That's when the photosynthesis is the fastest. Approximately what temperature produces the highest rate of photosynthesis? Somewhere around 33 degrees Celsius. It doesn't have to be perfect. It can be 32, 34. That would be okay. If the temperature isn't right, the enzymes needed for photosynthesis can be denatured. At what temperature are the enzymes denatured in figure 1? So fully denatured means that the active site is so different, the shape has changed so much that nothing can fit in and nothing works, and that's 45 degrees Celsius. Suggest one variable Levi might have measured in order to calculate the rate of photosynthesis in the pondweed. So they could have measured the volume of oxygen produced in a minute, for example. Could be the number of gas bubbles produced in a minute. Could be the number of oxygen produced in an hour. Okay, you have to have some amount of oxygen over a period of time. Describe one way that Levi could have measured the variable suggested in part B. So they could have used a gas syringe or a reversed measuring cylinder full of water, measure the volume of water displaced. There's a lot of different strategies to measure the rate when a gas is produced. Respiration is the process of transferring energy from glucose. Respiration can be aerobic or anaerobic. Use the words given to complete the word equation for aerobic respiration. So, in aerobic respiration, glucose reacts with oxygen to make carbon dioxide and water and energy. Which of the following is the chemical symbol of glucose? You need to know this one by heart, pretty much. C6H12O6. 6 carbon, 12 hydrogen, 6 oxygen. CO2 is carbon dioxide, O2 is oxygen, H2O is water. Which statements about respiration are true? There are two boxes. Respiration is an exothermic reaction. Energy is transferred to the environment. And respiration provides energy for all living processes. Okay. Very important. Respiration is part of the life. Sorry. It's one of the seven life process. Sorry. Metabolic reactions are a chemical reaction that occur in all living organisms. Which metabolic reaction listed below happens in plants but not in humans? So glucose is broken down in respiration. That's both human and plant. Lipid molecules are made from glycerol and fatty acid. That's happening in both. And glucose molecules are joined together to form cellulose. That is only in plants. We do not make cellulose. Okay, cellulose is made to reinforce the cell wall of plants, which we don't have. Metabolic reactions could stop happening if an organism gets too hot. So guess why? Remember, everything is controlled by enzyme. If it gets too hot, the enzymes get denatured. They stop working. Okay, next. Mice use both aerobic respiration and anaerobic respiration. How does the energy transferred by aerobic respiration help mice when they are in cold environment? So it helps them to keep warm. Okay, they're going to release energy to the surrounding, which is themselves, and that is going to heat them up. Write down two other things that aerobic respiration helps mice to do. So movement and also build up larger molecules that they can use for later, for example, or making DNA or stuff like that. When mice respire anaerobically, do they transfer more or less energy than when they respire aerobically? Less. Okay. You produce a lot more energy when you respire using glucose and oxygen. In the absence of oxygen, you may still respire a little bit, okay, just to help you survive for a short amount of time, when you go back to having oxygen, but definitely not as much. Otherwise, we wouldn't be breathing. Suggest why mice are unable to survive using anaerobic respiration alone, because they wouldn't produce enough energy to keep all the metabolic reactions going. Okay, they wouldn't be able to do everything they're doing to survive. Give the word equation for anaerobic respiration in the mouse muscle cells. So remember, in animals, anaerobic respiration is glucose goes to lactic acid plus energy. You do not need to know the formula for lactic acid, but it is C3H6O3, so exactly half of the glucose. Next, Priyanka sets up the equipment in figure 1. So in a test tube, we have air and germinating seeds, and we have a test tube or delivery tube that we're going to bring into lime water. Remember, lime water is used to test for the presence of carbon dioxide. If you blow carbon dioxide into lime water, it's going to go cloudy. If you blow any other gases, the lime water is going to stay clear and colorless. So the gas produced by germinating seed, if it goes cloudy, is carbon dioxide, CO2. Give another product made by germinating seed. Because they're respiring, they will also make water, H2O. Priyanka notices that the test tube containing the seeds feels warm to touch. Suggests why? Because the reaction is exothermic. Aerobic respiration is exothermic. Energy is released to the surrounding or transferred to the surrounding. They become hotter. Suggests how Priyanka could show that the gas was produced by the seeds respiring and not simply the presence of seed in a test tube. She could repeat the experiment with dead or boiled seed, and see that in that case there would be absolutely no difference in the temperature and no gas would be produced. Before we keep going, to prove that you watched the video, can you draw a beautiful plant on that page of the homework, please? Thank you. Next. When you exercise, you respire more. Fact. This transfers more energy to your muscle cells. Your body also responds to get more oxygen to your muscle cells. Right on one way your body responds to get more oxygen to your muscle cells, you're going to increase your heart rate or your breathing rate or the breath volume. All that is going to increase. Okay, that's going to carry and bring more oxygen into your blood and more blood around the body, so more oxygen into all your muscle cells. Okay, I'm going to go a bit faster now. Jim runs a race. Figure 1 shows Jim breathing rate before, during, and after the race. At the start of the race, Jim's breathing rate is 15 breaths per minute. How many breaths per minute does Jim's breathing rate go up by during the race? So it goes from 15 to 45, which is an extra 30 breaths per minute. How long does it take for Jim's breathing rate to return to normal after the race? So he finishes the race at 2 minutes, and his breathing rate comes back to 15 after about 5.5 minutes. So that is 5 minus 5, 5.5, sorry, minus 2, which was the end of the race, is 3.5 minutes. How would you expect Jim's breath volume to change during the race? During the race, it would probably increase, okay, to get more oxygen into the cells, so to increase the rate of respiration and release more energy. Near the end of the race, Jim's muscles start to get tired. Suggests why? Anaerobic respiration is taking place, okay, because it just cannot release enough energy by just doing aerobic respiration. So anaerobic respiration will take place, which is going to produce lactic acid, which is going to build up in the muscles, and that's going to cause fatigue. Okay, that's it for me. Please make sure that you have your beautiful diagram of a plant somewhere at the right page. Make sure you have all the answers correctly written down in green. Make sure you bring your homework in class on the right day, and I will talk to you very soon. Guys, stay amazing and talk to you very soon. Bye-bye.